Amsterdam is the capital city of the Netherlands, and like Sydney, is one of the world's most diverse cities, home to some 180 different nationalities. Amsterdam's population grew by 100,000 people between 2001 and 2015, representing the highest growth of all Dutch cities. Most of the recent population growth can be attributed to increases in migration, particularly in the form of asylum seekers from Syria, which has risen sharply since 2013. The Netherlands has had a long history of multiculturalism. After the Second World War, a large number of workers migrated from former Dutch colonies to help rebuild the country, and by the 1960s, the Dutch economy was booming, leading to further labour migration from southern Europe. At this stage, the Dutch government did not have any real integration policies because it had assumed that these guest workers would be temporary. However, as it turned out, many of them became permanent residents. The economic crisis of the 1970s halted labour migration in 1973. However, migration continued to rise as a result of family reunification laws introduced in 1974, allowing family members left behind to move back to the Netherlands. By the 1980s, a new wave of migrants came into the Netherlands in the form of refugees, and it had become blatantly clear to the government that the country had become an immigration country. This led to the introduction of minority policy in 1983, which aimed to integrate minority groups but maintain their cultural identities. This was executed through free language education and vocational programs. However, it failed to overcome issues such as unemployment, poor educational performance, and social disadvantage. A new immigration policy was introduced in 1989, aimed at superior education to better and more quickly integrate immigrants into Dutch society. For example, free voluntary language courses were organized by every local community in the Netherlands. Ultimately, this led to the enactment of the Newcomers Integration Act in 1998. Under this legislation, all adult immigrants who have lived in the Netherlands for less than a year were obliged to take part in an integration program which includes classes in Dutch language, Dutch society, and vocational orientation. Fines were handed to newcomers who failed to comply with these obligations without a valid reason. By the late 20th century, there was ongoing debate and scrutiny over the Netherlands integration model. The Newcomers Integration Act, as well as earlier integration policies, drew criticism for its deficiency in addressing the issue of integrating the older generation of migrants. Major terrorist attacks such as 9/11 and the London bombings heightened concern over security within the country and led to growing negative public sentiment towards Muslim communities. The assassinations of Pim Fortuyn and Theo van Gogh exacerbated this negative public sentiment, particularly the murder of Van Gogh by an Islamic fundamentalist, which sparked widespread retaliatory violence on mosques, churches, and Islamic schools throughout the Netherlands. In 2007, the Newcomers Integration Act had been superseded by the Integration Act, which mandated compulsory participation in the integration programs of its predecessor. In addition to the courses, the applicant must pass an integration exam. Initially, the cost of this program was either free or was paid for through government grants. However, this has now been replaced by government loans. In 2015, a new labour market module had been added to the exam. Upon successful completion of the program, the government continues to monitor the efforts made by immigrants to integrate into Dutch society and has the discretion to revoke residency unless the immigrant has asylum rights. This case study shows that a multicultural society can coexist cohesively in the short to medium term. However, increased migration without proper planning for integration will inevitably lead to social disharmony within different cultural communities. Weak integration policy or no integration policy at all has led to a parallel society in the Netherlands, whereby the standard of living between non-Western immigrants and native Dutch citizens is growing wider, and thus leading to a social segregation and discohesion between the two communities. Whilst the Netherlands has taken steps towards mitigating these issues, it is not without risk. The Netherlands' shift towards an assimilatory model of multiculturalism is in part designed to put the onus upon the applicant to integrate into Dutch society. Whilst theoretically, this would result in a more valuable member of society in terms of their potential economic output, it does not necessarily guarantee better social outcomes. For example, reduced public support for migrants may induce feelings of social exclusion and would thus be counterproductive in promoting social cohesion. The major lessons learned can be from the Dutch experience is to invest in the education of immigrants coming into our city and ensuring they have opportunity to learn our language and culture. According to MyPEX, Australia is already performing well in this regard, being ranked second for education policies of integration migrants in 2014. Nonetheless, the Dutch policy is a unique one, and for that reason alone, it is recommended that Sydney constantly monitor the progress of the Dutch, as this could provide useful insights into long-term benefits of compulsory integration. Thank you.